They say nothing good happens after midnight. But if you've ever sat alone in a quiet room while the world outside sleeps, that's when the air changes. Everything feels different. Still. Heavy. Like something is waiting just outside your reach. Most people sleep through it. They never hear what stirs in the dark. But some people do. And they never forget it. Tonight, you're going to hear one of those stories. A real one. From a girl who didn't believe in ghosts, monsters, or anything supernatural. Until one night changed everything. Her name was Mia. Just a regular 26-year-old. She lived in a small apartment on the edge of the city. Nothing special about the place. 2 bedrooms. 2nd floor. Brick walls that kept out most of the street noise. She shared it with her best friend, Ashley. They'd moved in together right after college. It was cheap, safe, and close to the subway. That week, Ashley had gone back to visit family. Just a weekend trip. So Mia had the place to herself. A rare thing. She spent Friday evening watching movies, scrolling her phone, snacking on microwave popcorn, and leaving dishes in the sink because, well, she could. She didn't notice it at first. The shift. That strange, crawling silence. It started around 11:30 p.m. The usual background hum, the fridge, the cars, the neighbors upstairs. It was just gone. She paused her movie. Pressed the volume button on the remote. Nothing changed. The apartment was dead quiet. Weird. She got up, checked the window. No cars. No streetlights. Just fog, thick and low, rolling down the sidewalk like smoke. Mia laughed to herself. Creepy, she muttered, pulling the curtain shut. She wasn't scared. Not really. Just unsettled. By midnight, she was brushing her teeth, planning to call it an early night. She turned off the bathroom light, walked into her room, and slid under the covers with her phone in hand. Then, at 1:17 a.m., she heard it. Knock. 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 Not at the door. Not from outside. From the wall. 3 slow, steady taps, coming from just beside her bed. She sat up. Knock. She held her breath, staring at the wall like it would move. Nothing. She waited a full minute, then got up and pressed her ear against the plaster. She expected silence. Or maybe the creak of old pipes. Instead, she heard something soft. Rhythmic. Breathing. She pulled back fast, stumbling slightly. Her heart was pounding, but she told herself it had to be the neighbors. Maybe someone was moving furniture. Or snoring. But then she remembered. There was no one on the other side of that wall. That part of the building was empty. That's when the second knock came. This time it was louder. This time it didn't stop at 3. Mia stood frozen in the dark. The knocks had changed. They weren't steady anymore. They came in uneven bursts, soft, then loud. Like someone was testing the wall, trying to figure out if it would break. She backed away slowly, still staring at the spot where the sound had come from. Her mouth was dry. She told herself again, it had to be plumbing. Maybe heat expanding through the building. But the rhythm, it was too intentional. Too human. She grabbed her phone and turned on the flashlight. The wall looked normal. Just white paint and small cracks. No marks. No holes. Nothing. Then, just as she turned to walk away. Knock. Right behind her head. She jumped and nearly dropped the phone. This time she didn't check. She grabbed her pillow and a blanket and went straight to the living room. She curled up on the couch, turned the TV on low, and tried to calm down. Whatever it was, she'd deal with it in the morning. By 2:30 a.m., the apartment felt normal again. A late-night talk show was playing. The host was making jokes she barely heard. Her eyes started to close. Sleep was just starting to pull her under. Thunk. Something hit the hallway floor. Mia's eyes snapped open. She muted the TV. Silence. Then again. Thunk. Like something small being dropped. She sat up slowly, listening. Her breath came in short, shallow bursts. It wasn't the wall this time. It was the hallway. Just outside the bathroom. She waited, heart hammering in her chest. Then the light in the hallway flickered. Once. Twice. Then off. Mia didn't move. She stared at the dark hallway, waiting for something, anything, to make sense. The silence dragged on for almost a full minute. Then her phone vibrated. She grabbed it quickly, expecting a notification or maybe a message from Ashley. Unknown number. The message said, "Stop moving." Her fingers trembled. She stood up, flashlight on, ready to run, when she saw something at the edge of the hallway floor. It was a small black object. At first, she thought it was a sock or maybe a crumpled bag. But as she stepped closer, she realized. It was her missing hair tie. She had lost it 2 days ago. Swore she left it in the bathroom. Now it was just there. She didn't remember dropping it. She didn't remember touching it. She knelt down slowly, reached for it, and felt a cold breath on her neck. She spun around. Nothing. Nothing was there. But her phone buzzed again. Another message. Same number. Don't look behind you. She dropped the phone. Her skin prickled with fear. Her ears rang with the kind of silence that feels alive. And then the knocking started again. This time from inside the living room wall. Mia backed into the corner, her hands shaking. The knocking was louder now. Closer. It moved, almost like footsteps, but inside the wall. First to the left. Then behind the couch. Then near the window. It was pacing. Like something trapped. Or worse, hunting. She couldn't think. Couldn't breathe. Her phone was still on the floor, screen glowing, the last message still visible. Don't look behind you. She didn't want to. But her body turned anyway. Empty room. Same couch. Same TV. No movement. And yet, she couldn't shake the feeling that she wasn't alone. She grabbed the phone, hand trembling, and texted Ashley. Something's wrong. Call me. Please. Message sent. No reply. Seconds passed. Then minutes. Nothing. She stared at the screen, waiting. Hoping. Then the phone lit up. But it wasn't a call. It was another message. Same unknown number. This time it said, "She won't answer. I already spoke to her." Mia's throat tightened. Her heart pounded so hard it hurt. She stared at the words, rereading them again and again. What did that mean? She opened her call log. Tried dialing Ashley. Straight to voicemail. She tried again. And again. Still nothing. She dropped the phone on the table and backed up slowly, inching toward the front door. She had to get out. Whatever was happening, it wasn't a joke. It wasn't her imagination. Something was wrong in the apartment. Her hand reached for the doorknob. Locked. She tried to turn it. Still locked. She twisted the deadbolt. Pulled harder. The knob wouldn't budge. It felt stuck, like it was holding itself shut. She looked down. The chain lock was still dangling on the side. Not engaged. So why wasn't the door opening? Then she noticed the door itself, breathing. It moved slightly in and out. Like lungs. Like something on the other side was pressing against it. Waiting. And then, asterisk knock. Knock. Knock asterisk. 3 slow, deep knocks. This time from the other side of the door. She whispered, "Who's there?" No answer. Another knock. Harder. She put her eye to the peephole. The hallway was pitch black. No flickering light. No emergency exit sign. No one. And then the peephole itself went dark. Covered. Something was standing there. Inches from her. Blocking her view. She stumbled back, grabbed the nearest object, a lamp, and held it in both hands like a weapon. Her arms were shaking. She wasn't thinking anymore. Just reacting. Then her phone buzzed again. Another message. Don't open the door. I'm not knocking. Mia stopped breathing. The knocking hadn't stopped. She looked at the phone. Then the door. And finally the wall. Where the knocking had started. Now it was thumping. Like fists. Hitting harder. And harder. Dust began to shake loose from the ceiling. The walls groaned. She wasn't alone. She never had been. The sound grew violent. It wasn't just knocking anymore. It was pounding. As if something was trapped inside the walls, fighting to get out. Mia backed away from the door and pressed herself against the far wall, gripping the lamp tighter. Her eyes were wild now. She didn't blink. She barely breathed. And then suddenly everything stopped. Silence. Not a peaceful kind. A heavy, unnatural quiet. Like the air was holding its breath. She stood still, waiting. Listening. 5 seconds. 10. 15. Her phone buzzed again. She jumped, nearly dropping it. The screen lit up with a new message. Come to the bathroom. No name. No number. She stared at it, confused, terrified. How did they know where she was? Why the bathroom? Another message. Now! Her legs didn't want to move, but her curiosity pushed her forward. Maybe there was something in there. Maybe she'd find proof that she wasn't going crazy. She crept down the hall. Every floorboard felt louder than it should have. The air was cold now. Colder than before. As she passed the hallway mirror, she caught her reflection and froze. Her face looked pale. But it wasn't the reflection that scared her. It was what was behind it. In the mirror, something stood at the far end of the hallway. But when she turned, nothing. She looked back into the mirror. Still there. A tall black figure. No face. Just a shape. Still. Watching. She turned again. Empty hallway. Mia backed away, her chest rising and falling in fast, shallow breaths. The lamp shook in her hand. The bathroom door creaked open by itself. The mirror figure didn't move. She forced herself into the bathroom, slamming the door shut behind her. She locked it, sat on the floor, back against the cold tub. Then she noticed the light above the mirror flickering. The same mirror where she had seen the message the other night. And there it was again, new words slowly appearing, as if someone were writing from the other side of the glass. You let me in. She wiped the surface, hoping it was just steam or her imagination. But the letters stayed. Clear. Sharp. Her hand was shaking uncontrollably. Then something moved behind the shower curtain. A slow, dragging sound like wet fabric sliding against tile. She didn't want to look. She knew something was behind it. But her eyes were drawn to it, pulled by fear. The curtain bulged slightly, as if something inside was breathing. Expanding. Contracting. She reached out just a little, and the curtain jerked violently. She screamed. Fell back, hitting the toilet hard. Silence. Then, another message, this time from the mirror. Almost there. The pounding on the walls started again. This time, it wasn't just from one place. It was coming from every direction. The walls were alive now. That's how it felt. Like they weren't just shaking, they were breathing. Mia pressed both hands over her ears, trying to block the sound, but it pushed through anyway. The pounding was coming from behind the mirror, beneath the floor, overhead in the ceiling. Every corner of the room thudded with heavy, uneven strikes. Something was surrounding her, closing in. The bathroom light flickered violently. She stood up slowly, knees weak, eyes darting toward the mirror. The words had changed again. Don't leave. She didn't care. She had to get out. Anywhere but here. She lunged for the doorknob. Still locked. She twisted it hard. Pulled. Yanked. Wouldn't move. From the other side, something scraped along the door. Like nails, slow and deliberate. Back and forth. Back and forth. Then a low voice whispered, almost like a growl, through the crack at the bottom. Stay with me. Mia backed away, bumping into the sink. The mirror shook. Then shattered. Glass flew outward, cutting her arm. She gasped, pressing her hand over the bleeding scrape, and looked up. There was no wall behind the mirror. Just a hollow, dark space. A void. And inside it movement. She leaned closer, trembling. It was too dark to see clearly, but she heard it. Breathing. Wet, heavy breathing. And then fingers. Thin, grayish fingers, slow and twitching, reached out from the empty space, tapping lightly against the wall's edge. Like they were feeling around, searching for a way through. She stumbled backward, falling to the floor. The fingers retracted. Gone. She didn't wait. She scrambled to her feet, ran to the door, and pounded with her fists. Screamed as loud as she could. Let me out. Please. Let me out. No answer. Just that same scraping on the other side. And the sound of footsteps walking slowly away, then coming back again, then stopping right outside. Her phone buzzed. She had forgotten it was still in her pocket. One message. From Ashley. But it didn't bring comfort. It said, I got your call. Are you okay? Why were you crying and whispering my name? Mia's stomach dropped. She hadn't called Ashley. She hadn't said anything. She started typing back frantically when another message appeared from the unknown number. You called her. You just don't remember. Mia threw the phone. It hit the wall and cracked. She slid to the floor, heart racing, unable to think straight. The walls pounded harder. The doorknob started to turn on its own. She watched it spin. Slowly. Left. Then right. The scraping returned. And the voice said again, Let me finish what you started. The lights shut off. Total darkness. Darkness swallowed everything. Mia couldn't see her hands. Couldn't see the floor. The mirror. The door. Only the sound remained, deep, slow breathing that seemed to echo from every wall. And that voice, low and cold, whispering again and again. You called me. You brought me here. Her body refused to move. She was curled up against the bathtub, arms wrapped around her knees, trying to shrink into nothing. The air was thick now, hard to breathe, like the room was sinking underwater. Then, without warning, the temperature dropped. So fast it made her gasp. Her breath came out in a white cloud. Her skin prickled. Frost began to spread across the tiles beneath her, like veins crawling toward her feet. She reached blindly for her phone. It was still cracked, but it lit up in her palm. Only one thing showed on the screen. 01:17. The time. The exact moment the first knock came that night. The exact time it had started. The same time, again and again. She tried to unlock the phone, call for help, but the screen froze. Literally. Ice crept over the display, locking it in place, then faded to black. The silence returned. No pounding. No breathing. No whispering. Only the sound of water. Drip. 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 She looked toward the sink. Nothing. Then she turned toward the tub, and saw it. Thick, dark water was slowly rising from the drain. It filled the bottom of the tub inch by inch. And something was floating in it. No, not floating. Rising. A shape. Long arms. No face. Its skin looked wet, stretched too tight over bones. It wasn't fast. It didn't need to be. Mia scrambled up, slipped on the frozen tiles, and hit the floor hard. She crawled toward the door, clawing at the lock with her numb fingers, screaming again for help. The handle turned by itself. Once. Then twice. She froze. The door creaked open. Just an inch. A whisper slipped through the gap. You left the door open the first time. Remember? She pushed it shut. Locked it. Threw her weight against it. She turned back toward the tub. Empty. No water. No figure. No sound. Only the broken mirror above the sink, now reflecting something behind her. She didn't want to look. But she did. And in the mirror, she saw herself standing still. Pale. Shaking. But her reflection was smiling. Then it blinked. She didn't. She reached up to touch the glass, just to be sure. And her reflection moved first. A hand reached out of the mirror and touched hers from the other side. Cold. Solid. Real. Then it whispered with her own voice. You're already on the wrong side. The pounding started again. This time from inside the mirror. Mia stumbled back, her breath caught in her throat. The mirror rippled like water, her reflection shifting unnaturally with every movement. That smile, wide, frozen, almost human, never left its face. It wasn't just copying her anymore. It was acting on its own. She watched in disbelief as her reflection turned its head slowly, deliberately, and stared directly at her. Not at the mirror. At her. Then the pounding intensified, louder than before, faster, no rhythm this time. Just chaos. It sounded like fists slamming from every angle, as though something was trying to break through all at once. The walls cracked. Thin lines, jagged and sharp, split through the paint and plaster. Chunks of ceiling began to fall, and the light, what little remained, pulsed like a heartbeat. She covered her ears, screaming, but the sound kept climbing. It was inside her head now. Inside her chest. She could feel it behind her eyes. Her reflection in the mirror opened its mouth. But no sound came out. Only darkness poured from it, inky and slow, dripping like blood into the sink. The edges of the mirror splintered further, then crumbled away like ash. The thing in the glass stepped forward. Not through it. Out of it. It wasn't a copy of her anymore. Not really. It wore her shape like skin, but everything about it was wrong. The eyes were too dark. The smile too wide. Its movements too smooth, like a puppet on invisible strings. Mia turned to run, but her legs buckled. Her body didn't feel like it belonged to her anymore. Like something else was already trying to take control. She dragged herself to the bathroom door again, tried the knob. It wouldn't budge. Not because it was locked, but because it had melted. Twisted into some warped shape that didn't even look like a doorknob anymore. Behind her, the lights burst. All of them. At once. Total blackness. Only the sound of her own ragged breathing. And something else closer. Wet footsteps. Slapping softly against tile. She crawled toward the corner. Curled up. Whispered over and over. Please stop, please stop, please stop. And then came the voice. Right next to her ear. Her own voice. I'm not here to hurt you. I'm here to replace you. Something touched her shoulder. Cold. Gentle. Like fingers brushing skin. She screamed, swung wildly in the dark, but hit nothing. Her hands found the edge of the sink, and she pulled herself up. The mirror was gone. Shattered completely. But where the glass used to be, there was now a hole. A hole in the wall. And on the other side a room. Identical to hers. Same tiles. Same sink. Same everything. Except there was someone standing inside. It was her. Watching. Smiling. Waiting. Mia stared through the hole in the wall. Her hands trembled against the cold porcelain sink. The other version of her, whatever it was, stood still in the mirrored room, just a few feet away. No blinking. No movement. Just that same twisted smile. The kind that said, "I know something you don't." She blinked. So did the thing inside. Then it tilted its head, almost curious. Like it was waiting for her to understand something. Waiting for her to agree. The hole in the wall seemed to pull at her subtly. Not wind. Not gravity. Something else. Like her mind was being tugged forward, gently but firmly, toward the place she wasn't meant to go. She shook her head, trying to snap herself out of it. "This isn't real," she whispered. "I'm dreaming." But then the floor creaked behind her. Not in the mirror. In her bathroom. Mia froze. The creaking came again, closer this time, followed by the slow drag of something heavy across the floor. She didn't want to look. Her legs refused to move. Her breathing was too loud, like it might give her away. In the reflection, her double began to move, finally. It stepped closer to the edge of the frame. 1 step. 2. Hands reaching out, palms open, like it was inviting her to trade places. Behind her, a whisper crawled into her ear. "You're tired. Let her take your place." Mia spun around. Nothing. But the door, the melted, twisted door, was now wide open. Beyond it, the hallway was pitch black. No lights. No noise. Just that impossible silence. She turned back to the sink. The mirror room was empty. Her double was gone. She stepped back. Slowly. Carefully. Then the lights in the hallway flickered. Something moved across it fast. Just a blur. She barely caught it. Then, a knock. From the inside of the bathroom wall. Then the same knock echoed from the hallway. Then from the ceiling. Then from the inside of her head. She pressed her hands to her temples. "Stop. Please stop." But it didn't stop. It multiplied. 100 whispers all at once. All saying the same thing. "Come through. Come through. Come through." She looked at the hole in the wall again. It was wider now. Too wide. Like it wanted her to fit through it. She took a step forward. The temperature dropped again. The floor felt soft beneath her feet, almost like skin. She took another step. And the whisper changed. "Just one more. Let go." She could see the mirror version now, standing in the new room again. Hands still reaching. Closer than before. Mia raised one arm slowly, almost without thinking. Their hands nearly touched. Then behind her, in her real room, her phone rang. One long, shrill ring. The name on the screen. Ashley. Alive. Calling her. Reality, like a wire pulled tight, snapped back hard. She turned toward the sound. And when she looked back at the hole, it was gone. Mia dropped the photo. It fluttered to the floor like it weighed nothing, but it felt heavy in her chest. That smile. That version of her. Something about it was all wrong. It wasn't fear or confusion, or even shock she saw in her own face. It was calm. Cold. Almost satisfied. She backed away from the table, unable to stop staring at where the photo had fallen. Her mind was spiraling, trying to fit all the pieces together, but none of them made sense. Time had stopped. The mirrors had opened. Something had come through. And now, she wasn't even sure if she had made it out, or if anything had made it in. The lights flickered one last time. A car horn blared outside. She rushed to the window and pulled back the curtain. There, through the fog, she saw Ashley's car. Headlights glowing, engine running. Relief hit her like a wave. Real. Familiar. Safe. She turned, grabbed her keys, and ran for the door. But the doorknob was cold. Too cold. And as her hand touched it, she paused. The hallway on the other side could be anything. Could be her building. Could be something else pretending. Still, she twisted the knob. It turned easily this time. No resistance. The door creaked open. Ashley was at the bottom of the stairs, waving up at her. "Mia," she called. "Are you okay?" Mia smiled weakly, tears filling her eyes. "I'm fine. I'm coming." She stepped out, closing the door gently behind her, and never looked back. But inside the apartment, the lights never turned back on. The bathroom mirror remained shattered. The cracks in the wall kept spreading, and the photo, still lying on the living room floor, began to curl at the edges, slowly turning dark. Then, in the silence, came a faint knock. Not from the door. Not from the wall. From the inside of the television screen. 3 soft taps. Then a whisper, barely audible beneath the hum of static. One stayed behind. Somewhere deep in the apartment, something smiled. And waited.